Hey guys, I'm going to try a new camera tonight. I've had some of you say that you couldn't hear me on the other one, which was the GoPro I was using. So, let me get this one a little bit more. Alright, maybe a little bit down. Sorry about that, guys. But anyways, guys, we're going to try this camera tonight and see how it goes. I've had a lot of people ask me to look at Brenda Hamilton's case and do a review of her case. Her family's still not happy. So, done a lot of digging. There's a lot of reports, a lot of contradictions. Kind of like the DNA I told you in the last one. I'm just going to go into it so y'all can kind of see what's going on here. And I think it's going to probably frustrate a lot of you. Back whenever all this happened, the Beaufort County Sheriff's Department said that DNA is not discriminative and no matches were made from the 14 dogs in the area that were checked. We can also say it is not a coyote or a bear. Dogs in custody that was at the scene, these are the two dogs that were seized and that were inspected, at the scene were deemed non-dangerous by the Beaufort County Dangerous Dogs Commission. Two canines in custody are said to not be dangerous by deputies and animal control officers. Dogs also passed an aggressive dog test. DNA cannot match any specific dog. This is from the Beaufort Sheriff's Department. Just that it has canine canid DNA, non-specific. Okay. That was part of the investigation that they were going over back when all this was happening. So now they've decided that they're going to come out. They're going to give the last update that I could find to her case. And this is what they've left you with. Beaufort County blames dogs and say that they now know that it was the two dogs that killed her. Okay? Miss Hamilton was killed by these two dogs. That's their statement. The commission asked a university expert to determine a species of animal due to the DNA supporting an attacker and asked them to see if it was a single dog or dogs. They are pushing so hard for this to be a dog. The report conclusion came out as DNA evidence points to domestic dogs. However, there is no solid evidence linking an attack to a specific dog in the area or a species of canine. Okay, here's the next part. Wild cats, bears, pumas, panthers, mountain lions, bobcats, coyotes, wolves, or foxes could not have done this. What's left? This conclusion is based on data and subject to change if the DNA shows a different conclusion. However, being based on two dogs killed Miss Hamilton, it is our opinion that it was two domesticated dogs. Okay, I need y'all to remember this. This isn't based on information it's based on information given to them, but it's not based on factual evidence. It's circumstantial, based on the opinion of an individual giving a possible conclusion to what could have happened to Miss Hamilton. And they even say in the report, this is our opinion, okay? So, that's one part that they decided to go with. It gets better. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I have a little allergies today. They said that the two canines that were in custody never showed any signs of aggression toward officers, animal control, or anyone that day that attempted to pick them up. Okay. The dogs passed an aggressive test, and after 10 days of being handled, they were then later given back to the owners without incident, and no incident at this time. Commissioner Hood Richardson, which in my opinion should be the chairman, but that's for y'all to decide, believes the case was mishandled. Okay, and this is where it gets good. All the blood evidence at the scene was taken by the feds. They came in and took all DNA specimens. Okay? Why? I have no idea. He said, "We cannot even say we know what did this. The DNA report is very, very, very inconclusive." Now we got Mr. Frankie Waters, the chairman, steps in. And he starts expressing concern about all these feral dogs that's been running around, and all these hunters have been telling him, "Hey, we see all these feral dogs while we're out hunting. You know, they're all over the place." Probably Good Old Boy Network. And all these hunters are seeing all these feral dogs, but not one hunter's attacked. Not one. They're so concerned over these feral dogs, and they're seeing so many of them while they're out hunting, yet none of them's had to shoot any in self-defense, and none of them's been attacked. Waters then stated, "I believe we've done the best we can." Commissioner Hood said, "People want answers." Commissioner Hood's not buying this, guys. He's standing right there for you guys. He's not having it. And I don't blame him. Chairman Waters said, "We have done what the entire county has asked us to do, and the citizens. The case will be closed," and it was domesticated dogs. They based this whole attack, where you've even got professors telling you the DNA cannot tell you what kind of species attacked. It was a canine canid, but we can't tell you what it was. We can't tell you the species it was, but we can tell you that it wasn't a fox or a mountain lion or a bear or a panther or, you know, a hawk or a bird or, I don't know, pterodactyl. But they can tell you that their opinion is that it was these two dogs that never exerted any aggression toward anybody. Not even to strangers that came and got them, that took them and had them for 10 days. They never exerted any kind of aggression. So, some of the points I wanted to kind of share with you guys. One of the things I thought was pretty peculiar in the case is the morning she was killed, it was at 5 a.m. The neighbors said they heard their dogs barking. They went outside and they saw her lying in a ditch. The water was up to her shoulders. She had a lot of damage. She was still alive. There was a considerable amount of blood in the road that led to Miss Hamilton lying in the ditch. That would lead you to believe that the attack happened in the road. I don't know if she was drugged to the ditch, maybe ran to the ditch. I don't know how she ended up there, but she ended up in the ditch with water up to her, they said, her shoulders. The dogs never displayed any signs of aggression toward officers, animal control, or anybody, and not even while they were held for 10 days. The dogs were investigated, looked at, and examined within the hour that they found of the attack. None of the dogs had any mud on them. None of the dogs were wet. They did find trace amounts of blood, human blood, on the dogs' mouth and on their paws, which is probably from the road to where they were with her. They'd stepped in it, probably smelt it, licked it. The shape she was in, guys, these dogs didn't do that. These dogs would have been covered in mud, water, and blood. Trust me. She had savage, it was a savage attack. Parts of her was consumed. Wildlife and federal officers took items for testing. Even they even admitted the feds did not have authorization to take these items, but they did anyways. They took all the blood samples. The blood samples went with them. Sheriff investigators were told DNA likely, this is what they got back when they took the blood samples. Sheriff investigators were told, since the feds took everything, we know it's coming from the feds, DNA likely on Miss Hamilton's jacket was domestic canine DNA. Federal officers and wildlife would no longer be involved in the case because the blood is proven to be domesticated. Chairman Waters, again, came into the picture, and he closed the case on an opinion by a professor at a college that was never on the scene, probably never worked a case in her life, and they're going to go by an opinion on somebody that lost their life. Gets better. The following Monday, the sheriff's department spoke directly to the lab they used at the nearby college. They said DNA was likely domestic dog, but did not rule out wild canids. Other materials that had blood on them, one being her flashlight, all tested negative for DNA. All the DNA was on all the other items. They're saying here there was no DNA, okay? Remember, this is lab results that they got on the case. The dogs returned to the owners within 10 days. The dogs that were suspected of killing her walked with her every morning. There is witnesses that attested to this, and even her husband. She walked with these dogs every morning at the same time. These dogs were familiar with her, started proving they were non-aggressive. So what else, you know? So, the sheriff stated this. Domestic dog DNA on 6 other items likely came from 2 dogs that were seized. Now up here, they just said there was no DNA on the 6 items when they called the lab. There was only DNA on the coat. Well, now the sheriff all of a sudden is giving a statement saying that there's DNA on all 6 items, and they are all come back to the 2 dogs that were seized. They're building their case. But DNA match to a specific dog could not be made. So the DNA that wasn't present Monday all of a sudden is present now, and they know it's the 2 dogs, but now he's saying the DNA in the report, because they know people's going to read these reports. The DNA in the report, though, cannot name a specific dog. So he has to say that so he's not caught in a lie. But up here he says, well, it's the 2 dogs. So he's working on the psychology of making you believe it's the 2 dogs. They do this. They're taught this. It's taught in class. He stated this is the reason that it's unknown. But we could say for certain that it's not a coyote or a bear. It's not a coyote or a bear. Now here's another kicker for you. Coyote and dog DNA, canine, is the same. Okay. After completion, all testing and review circumstantial evidence, it was circumstantial evidence, they was unable to make a definitive determination, a legal definitive determination as to what time and what kind of canine attacked Miss Hamilton. They couldn't do it because there is not enough evidence here to blame the dogs that they want a dog, because you see the lab isn't cooperating because they're telling them it's not a specific dog. You cannot match the canine DNA to a specific dog. They're trying to match these 2 dogs, but these 2 dogs are just, they can't do it, and it's what they're wanting to do. They're trying their hardest to get these 2 dogs. You know, man, these 2 dogs, they're the corp, you know, they're the ones that done it, but man, they're not mean. They show no signs of aggression. They're not soaked in water or mud. They don't even have blood all over them. And she's in water up to her shoulders. You just have to read the shape she was in. And no blood on them. The chairman closes the case. Says they've done everything that the community and the citizens have asked of them. Why did the feds come in and take all the blood work and then turn it back over? Makes you wonder things. I mean, just speculatory, circumstantial, my opinion. What if things were switched up? What if they didn't want that blood to get into the right hands and come back with the DNA they didn't want it to come back to? Just what if? Just an opinion. What if they already know what done this and they needed these 2 dogs because these 2 dogs were with her and they were hoping they had more blood on them, and finding the blood on their feet and in their mouth and things that they could tie it to the dogs, but the dogs' attitudes and their temperament just didn't fit the narrative. And the labs are coming back and the labs aren't telling them the things they want to hear. They're wanting to hear definitively it's dog, and all they can tell them is it's canine, but cannot determine specific species. And they cannot legally definitively determine what type of canine attacked Miss Hamilton, but they closed the case and called it the 2 dogs. I know y'all's going to have some discussion on this one. Miss Hamilton's family, I'm sorry that y'all are going through this. I hope you get the answers that you're looking for. Don't give up. There's so many holes, so many flaws, so many contradictions in this. I had trouble even keeping up with it. One minute they were for sure what it was, another minute they wasn't. One minute they're telling everybody it's taken care of. And compliments to Mr. Hood, one of the commissioners. He didn't stand for it. He spoke out against it. But the chairman was quick to close the case, to call it the 2 dogs, and let's move on. Be safe while you're out there, guys. I'm going to leave it at that. It kind of aggravates me. There's a lot of things I'd like to say, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it to y'all as I always do. And I look forward to hearing your opinions. And wow. Let's keep Miss Hamilton and her family, you know, in our thoughts and prayers. And hopefully they'll get answers. It don't look like it. It looks like they're pretty much done. It looks like the chairman's done, the city's done. They're not going to spend any more money on this. Wildlife has backed out of it. Federal agencies have backed out of it. A lot of people don't know wildlife is usually a federal agency. Sounds like they're done with it, and when they're done with it and the case is closed, that's usually where it remains. But there's some people out there in that area, I believe, know the truth. And if any of y'all want to come forward, you want to remain anonymous, you want to speak about this, I'll listen to you. We'll set up a time, we'll talk. If you want to go on, tell the story, we'll put it on. If y'all have anything to add to this, you want to come forward, you'll remain anonymous. I'll never ask your name, and we'll put it out there. Maybe if anything else, it'll help her family. I appreciate each and every one of you watching. Be safe when you're out walking, and carry what's legal with you to defend yourself. Depending on what state you're in, check your regulations and state laws. Appreciate y'all watching. God bless.